for the first movement is a pull down. We're gonna use this kind of mag grip, supinated grip, really dig into those lower lats, and then we're gonna big stretch at the top, peak contraction, lean back slightly, retract the scapula so you get a really good peak contract at the bottom. So dig underneath, really reach for every rep. Squeeze through at the bottom. When I milk the negative, a lot of people just like go up slow, but they're not holding on to it with their lats or holding on to it with their biceps. So what you do is squeeze and then consciously like let it up like with your lats. So kind of have that scooping motion, like it's almost like a pullover kind of movement with your lats. So stretch. Squeeze the bottom of the rep. So a modality I like to hit a lot is this really slow squeezes, and then towards the end of the set, when you're getting towards that failure point, then you can kind of speed it up because you've got so much mind-muscle connection and what's called hypoxicity. So you've got a lot of basically blood flow in that tissue. You're reducing the amount of oxygen available for it. So fire through like 10 to 12 with a really good squeeze and negative, and then bang out 4 to 6 like faster reps. Yep, good tuck underneath. Big stretch to the lats. It's open. Now drive. Squeeze for 1 count at the bottom. Lean back a little more. Boom. There. Feel that? Yeah. And then release through the lats. So squeeze. Now let it out through the lats. And now reach. Now back. There you go. Slower on that release. Squeeze. Up. Pull for 1, slow on the up. That first part of that negative, the heart, this is the most important part. So squeeze, now slow here. There you go. 3 more, put that hold, slow. 2 more. Hold, 1 more. Now fire through 4 to 6 fast. 1. 2, come on, 3, 4, let's go 2 more, no wasted sets. Last one. Boom, there it is.
Whew. Oh, all right, that's good for the day.
All right, so I'm gonna follow that format, anywhere from 8 to 12 with that hold, and firing through anywhere from like 5 to 10.
And do like what, 3 working sets? How many working
sets? This will probably be my first working set, probably 3 to 4 working sets.
3 to 4? Perfect.
There you go, a little slower on that negative for the first few. Drive, pull, there you go. Open, squeeze, hold. A little slower on that negative. I got you, squeeze, slow. Pull the shoulders back. Let it up with the lats. So flare those elbows a little bit. Now let it out with the lats. Drive, more stretch at the top. Open that shit, open, 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 open. Reach for it a little more. 2 more holds. Reach. Good. Reach, 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 reach. Now, let's go for burns. Let's go. Go. 1. A little faster. 2. 3. Come on. 4. 5. Let's go 2 more. Last one.
Fucking hell. My strap came in like the first rep.
My last set, we're gonna do speed up a little bit, major drop set.
Drop set?
We'll do probably sets 8 to 10. I'll have you drop me, probably, I'll tell you where, but 4 plates each.
Sure.
My mind, keep my head down with the best. Blow the smoke, don't you choke. All these niggas get me vexed. Shawty bust it down on me. She do shit the best. Riding in that phone call, had the cool plastic. Last nigga try to fuck with me, lay in the casket. Northside, all the money up and made of plastic. 10 out of 10, my bitch is always the baddest.
So the reason we train like this is what we're doing is trying to build up something called hypoxicity. So with hypertrophy training, the reason it's different than strength training is because you're inducing more hypertrophy, breaking down that muscle fiber through the adaptation that's not just going heavier and heavier, it's taxing the tissue in different ways. Drop sets, slowing down your reps, peak contraction point, slow negatives, and that idea what's called hypoxicity. So hypoxicity is when you reduce the amount of oxygen available for the tissue to perform. It's gonna force you to go from slow twitch to fast twitch, small to large muscle fibers, So even when you're doing your last part of that drop set, maybe doing the lightest weight, you might be inducing the most hypertrophy because you're inducing so much of hypoxicity that your muscles are like, I've got so much little left to give. So it's gonna go to that larger muscle group to try to get the job done. So don't always focus on top end weight, focus on the intentionality and specificity in which the way you're training. If you train long like this, you're gonna stay healthier. You don't have to do as much top end weight. So I'm gonna show Tristyn one of my favorite mid lower back cable variants. It's gonna be kind of emulatory of a bent over dumbbell row. Good for that?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the main things that people miss out on is that they get so hyper-focused on progressive overload, but a better term that Eric's sort of explaining is progressive overstimulus. So your muscle doesn't necessarily recognize the load that it's being put under if the stimulus is a greater degree. So if you can stimulate the muscle, obviously under load, because that's something that's a key component of hypertrophy, then progressively over stimulus, so better technique, better form, and then increase your loads, then you're gonna get the most results without potentially risking the injury. So if you can nail down your form at the first week of your mesocycle so that as you progress through it, there's a base standard of what you can work off of, that's gonna be more ideal for muscle growth. Otherwise, you won't be able to tell if the stimulus or the progressive overload, as a lot of people call it, is actually progressive overload or if you're just having faults in your technique that allow you to get more reps. So get your technique down, then progressive overstimulus from there.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna plant this hand here. So that vector force is going low to mid. We're gonna plant that other foot wide. We're gonna reach for that rep. Big stretch through that all the way through the lower lat. And then dig. We're gonna go pronation to supination. So open, really let that lat open all the way through your hip. Pick up that shoulder drive squeeze. So the cool thing about this exercise, you see how that vector force and the body positioning is very similar to what you get if you were doing a dumbbell row from the floor. But the reason this is so effective is because it allows us more of that stretch and reach, but also when we go for peak contraction, we get to pull that shoulder up, and it's not like really like super taxing my lower back to be here and really get that lower lat squeeze. Whereas if I was in a true bent over row, position that holding that dumbbell straight down is very hard with that vector force. So this allows us to lift up, squeeze, get that really good peak contraction. Yep, knee up, there you go. Good comfortable base. Reach for it. Feel that huge stretch. Almost unlock the scap. So like unlock it, so like reach and unlock it. Yeah, there you go. That's good work. Now you're in it, now you're in it. You found that peak contraction, squeeze, let it out through the lat.
She saw but guess on my wrist. It was game over, no she dead no resist.
I said run me another one, cause I ain't not feeling any other one. She said on fire, pop out and I made another one. She think I'm a dog like a thrower, man. So I got rid of the roof. She fell in love with a whoop.
So talk me through what are like your goals right now? Like how you're getting more food in your system is like the goal right now to grow?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I put on like 15 pounds the past 10 weeks, so I'm just trying to grow now. So
still look really lean.
Thank you. Trying
you're doing it the right way.
Looks like nothing's compared to this guy.
I've been at it for a minute.
He's like, yeah, I just started working out yesterday. Took creatine and
I just did one workout and then went to a bodybuilding show. I did pretty well actually. So, you know, in prep, you get a little brain dead towards the end.
Yeah.
So like, there was a big part of me when I was like watching my babies, because we don't like outsource our parenting. We work from home, so we do it pretty much all of it ourselves. So it's like I take care of them really realistically half the day.
Yeah.
And so there was times I'd be like so depleted that I just like want to like plop them and let them play.
Yeah.
As opposed to being really immersive with them. So I was really like digging at me mentally.
Yeah.
So then I like told myself, I'm gonna give this fucking show everything.
And then full focus.
Win. And then come out and just like
focus on that, yeah.
Focus on family and recovering.
Especially at that age, time flies, right? Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm gonna talk to my wife about it on the drive home. But
are they all here with you while you're traveling?
Actually, they stayed back so she could hang with the babies.
Yeah, for sure.
What you can see, something that Tristyn does so well without even having to cue him, is he reaches for his reps. Meaning he opens up the muscle that he's about to hit and gets something called stretch-mediated hypertrophy. So more and more research has shown that when you stretch that fascia under load, you're actually gonna produce just as much, if not more hypertrophy than in that contracted position. So if you see, he reaches for those reps, opens up through the traps, rear delts, rhomboids, and then digs it in, you're gonna get the dual effect of, one, more stretch mediated hypertrophy. Number two, if you train that muscle long, you're gonna stay healthier for longer, because you train here, you're training those muscles in short range of motion. So everything, you know, you see bodybuilders that walk around like this, like it's because they have no range of motion on their movement patterns. Whereas I'm like hypermobile. You see me like reaching pretty much underneath, getting all these crazy angles because I train in these modalities. It's not like I do a shit ton of yoga or mobility work. I just train long, and that helps my tissue remain lengthened and healthy. So I definitely recommend you train like this. How many years of training is this for you?
6.
Yeah. It's crazy how like developed you were like 2 years into training.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, I've always been like sort of athletic, so I like played sports and stuff. But then as soon as I started bodybuilding and stuff, I took to it, so I just loved it. I was doing it every day, you know. Yeah. Like you, right back in after the show.
Are you still 16?
Yeah, forever. Yeah, in everyone's eyes. It's okay. Like everybody's like, dude, he just looks young, and I'm like, I know. That's what I use to my advantage, guys. Come on.
Yeah, he's just forever 16. It's Benjamin Button.
We're gonna make merch, forever 16.
Forever 16.
And the forever 21 font, just.
Is that when you blew up in popularity? When you were 16?
15, 16, yeah. The most traction that we got was when I was like 18, 19.
Yeah.
And then right now it's decent, but like 15, 16 was like when I got into it. So everybody's like, oh, he's 16 forever. It's okay. I'll play along with it. Just cry on the inside.
I look like I'm 15 still, I think.
Yeah, but you don't look old. Like, there's so many people in the bodybuilding realm that look like 25 years older than they actually are. You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah, sometimes like especially on like an international bodybuilding page, I'll see a guy and like they'll be like 21 years old, and I'm like, my guy looks like he's like rolling on 42.
It's like the Middle Eastern dudes. Some of the Middle Eastern dudes got like the fucking facial hair and stuff, but if they shave, they're like baby face, you know?
One form cue really quick that Tristyn's doing well. Sorry to pipe you up, but your form's great. He's not, we're trying to hit upper back, but a lot of people when they try to do like an upper back row, they over worry about like doing this and pulling like this. He's pulling here, because if you want to really hit rhomboids through like rear delt upper back, you want to be here. You see how up here, it goes all into medial delt, rear delt trap. So if you want to hit more like traps and rear delts, you can pull here or here. But if you want to hit like still more of a true back exercise, you want to be overhand grip, supinated here. That's where you get that really like good upper back rhomboid development. Big stretch, big peak contraction.
So you're like almost pushing your chest to the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the biggest cue that I found with lat prayers, has helped me stretch my lats out so much, that people concern themselves so much with like whether or not their lats are engaged at the top. The truth is, just because you feel it engaged at the top doesn't mean necessarily that you're working it more than if it's just in the stretch position under load. So if you're able to load your lats in that super ultra stretch position, like this movement is not a movement where you're trying to be like a dumbbell row where you're overloading to like 600 pounds. If you can milk the eccentric as much as possible and get a deep stretch on your lats, that's ideal. So you can see when Eric's doing it, it's like this portion here is good. Obviously your lats are contracted, but as he comes down, he's imagine pushing his chest all the way to the ground so that he really stretches out his lats.
See, there's this guy I know what he's talking about. There's only like 2 people I know that can match me technically when we talk about training, that I've actually worked with personally. Tristyn and Jared Feather, who's also at this gym. Crazy technical. I've never been able to work out with them, but Mike Istratel also is a huge.
Don't put me in that realm, okay? Don't. It's like guys got like their masters, PhDs, and yeah, Tristyn's there, just some 16-year-old who's half naked on the internet. Same thing, right?
A couple reasons I like to throw more compound movements like this towards the end of a training session, because number one, they're extremely taxing on the CNS. So if you're doing a bent over hip hinge movement, the barbell, time under tension, it's like I'm still winded from my last set. And so if you do that at the beginning of your workout, it's going to probably detract from some of your more isolated movements, because that CNS tax is so high. The number 2 reason is you don't have to go as heavy on these, because if you're already pre-exhausted with some of those single arm iso movements, pull downs that aren't so taxing your CNS, I can do 2 plates instead of 3 and probably get the same amount of hypertrophy as if I did 3 plates at the beginning of the workout. So not to say always toss your compounds on the end, but it's just another way to switch stimuli in order to drive progress. So just food for thought. So don't always feel like, oh, I got to do my deadlifts first, my rows first, or my squats first. Maybe do some pre-exhaust. You don't do it quite as heavy on those more compound movements that are more risk of injury and higher tax on the CNS. All right, we just wrapped up. We just hit back because we got so toasted. We didn't do any biceps, but
I got so toasted, okay?
I didn't say it. But yeah, no, such a great workout. I've been a huge fan of Tristyn's for years. I mean, you just know how hard this guy works. Like, there's the stories of him waking up at like 5 a.m. and training, like being very, very meticulous with his nutrition. And that's why he looks the way he does. So to be able to work out with him and see how hard he works in the gym has been fun too. He's very knowledgeable as well. So if you guys do not subscribe to him or follow him, please do. He's an amazing natural athlete. It's like shows what you can do naturally. So what do you think of the workout overall?
I thought it was crazy. I like the intensity techniques and stuff. It's something switching it up because my programming has been pretty simple as I've tried to standardize my periodization working with like Jared and stuff. I know you worked with them in the past, but throwing in some different intensity techniques with like the drop sets and even just having some force reps, things like that was awesome. So it's good. Throwing the compound movements at the end. Usually I'll throw them at the beginning, so that taxed my CNS, but it was good. I appreciate you letting me jump in, especially this guy said one day post-show, he's like, oh, let's train. I'm like, oh, sweet. I didn't want to interrupt him. I know bodybuilders around the shows are pretty particular about the way they like to train and stuff, but he's like one of the most genuine, humble guys, so he was willing to let me jump in on the session, so I appreciate it, man.
Dude, I love it. I think it's like, for me, like, if you get so serious about it and don't enjoy the process, and you're like, oh my God, I need every set to be like this and this and this, like, at the end of the day, it's not gonna, like, what you do in your workout 6 days out from your fucking show is not gonna determine anything about the way you look in that show. Sure, if you like do like 50 workouts that are subpar, yeah, that's gonna make a difference. But like one workout with somebody like to have an experience like this, so if you're a competitor, don't get so far in your head that you're like, oh, I can't train with anybody, I need to be doing exactly my programming every single day or else I'm gonna lose the show. Like, that's not true. So take that with a grain of salt. Also, Tristyn's gonna be coming to LA, so we're gonna get some more content in. It's gonna be fucking dope. We'll do some other body parts for you guys. But without further ado, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please do. It means the world to me. If you're not subscribed to Tristyn or don't follow him on Instagram, I'll put all that information below. We'll catch you guys on the next one.